The reason I chose my guest for My Life, My Music this week was because I saw something on Facebook. A pretty impressive piece of rebuilding of a motor car, which rather struck a chord with me. And so I invite to the studio Aleš Zorko, who is in fact a freelance web designer, amongst other things, to tell me about this project. What you're doing is something special. It's not just making it run. It's a major rebuild, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And it's something I wanted to do all my life, basically. And when I visited the Nurburgring and was taken around the Nurburgring in such a car, I got infected with the virus.
You have to tell me what the car is exactly. We know it's a BMW, but tell me more.
The car is a BMW E30, and the E30 is, among enthusiasts, is a very special car. It's one of the last classic BMWs, and it's known for its handling, and it looks just perfect. It's a very simple car, and it's very fun to drive.
It's an elegant looking car though, isn't it? I mean, the Tour design actually helps that.
Yeah.
So tell me more about this whole concept of what did you start off with, and you know, what was the condition of the car and how did you find it? Where was it?
I bought the car from my father's neighbor. He bought it from someone 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. And kept it for 5 years. He didn't drive it much. So the car was in a decent condition for such a car. It was 25 years old when I bought it. But it needed some love. Mm. If it was to last, I had to do something. Because there was some rust, some mechanical issues. And once I started to pull it apart, it became obvious that it's going to be a full restoration.
Yes. And the moment you start to do that, if you're really keen to do something well, every little detail suddenly appears, doesn't it, when you start
taking it? My OCD really started to kick in.
To do this program, I asked you to choose music. Is music important?
Yeah, very.
Was there a plan? How did you choose your bits of music?
I chose the music partly because of the theme of the car. Okay. By the titles, you will notice that
there's quite a bit of 70s and 80s.
And the titles also provide the theme of the restoration. Mm-hmm. And it's also music that I like to listen in the car while driving, because it's very relaxing music.
Well, there's some fairly energetic pieces here.
Yeah, and nice for the road.
Yeah, sure. As long as you don't go too quickly. Yeah. One or two pieces I think would persuade you to be getting on with it.
Yeah.
Where do we start?
I think we can start with the theme of the car, with Perfect.
The sound of fairground attraction and perfect. Is that the way you're looking at this project?
Yeah.
You're going to get every fine detail.
I will not succeed in every detail, but that's the goal. Yeah.
Let's have a little bit more about you. Where were you born? Where were you brought up? What's your background?
I was born here in Maribor. I lived my whole life here in the same house. My background, my love for cars stems from my love for Lego. Basically.
Okay.
When I was little, I always built the cars I saw out of Lego, and it developed from there.
And you still do a bit of that. You still make models using Lego and much more. It's, seriously complicated models I see you've made.
Yeah, on a bigger and more complicated scale, yeah.
But they have motors and all sorts of bits and pieces.
They're really pneumatic engines.
Right.
Basically, they work like steam engines, but with compressed air and with Lego pieces.
This is something I didn't know until I'd seen it in yours. I never even knew they made such things. That's really complex. How about growing up? What was your background? What were your parents?
My mom was at home, basically, for all my childhood.
You have
a homemaker.
Brothers?
I had a sister, and my father was actually mostly absent. He was working a lot on business trips, and we really even got together when, after Slovenia got independent. He got his own business, and I started to help him with his own business. Before, he worked as a manager in factories, so I couldn't be there.
And the business?
He's an economist, so he always had shops. First shoes, then medical equipment.
Oh, okay. So you have a range of experiences with other areas too, to some extent.
So I'm a very practical person and very hands-on. So I like to use my hands to fix things, to work on them. This has always been a theme.
School, was this a good time?
No, I never liked school, and I never
I guess who's honest. That's fine.
Yeah. No, I really never liked school, but this is because of my hatred for math and authority. Okay. I never liked the structure of the school, and now today that I'm a little bit more educated, not in the schooling sense, but that I know how society and the mind works. I know that the current schooling system just isn't what we need.
Maybe we'll talk about that in a minute, but first we need some more music.
Next track, Houston, Runaway.
Why?
It's basically a remake track from Dakota, which are a band from the 80s. Yeah. But it's one of the rare remakes that makes the original track better. Yeah. And it's a very energetic track and perfect for driving.
Yes, it's a very big sound, isn't it, too? It's a complex, rich sound. It's a great sound. I didn't actually know this particular track, but it's really nice. My guest today, Aleš Zorko, freelance web designer, but more importantly for this conversation, car builder. We'd got to education, and you were talking a bit about education for you wasn't ideal. I would totally agree with that. I think that the concepts of modern teaching ignores the way young people develop. Yeah. And indeed channels them inappropriately and narrows their mind in such a way that they simply, in my opinion, don't really function properly.
Exactly.
So what do you think is the right alternative? What should we be doing in terms of education?
First, we shouldn't put children into boxes. We order them by age groups, which is wrong. I mean, you have children at age 7 who can perform some things better than children at age 12, and vice versa.
Sure.
And we should group children by ability and interests, not by age. That's the first thing that we really should change. And we shouldn't stiffen their creativity, because that's one major thing. When children become too creative, they become disruptive to the whole teaching process. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Do you think that people should take education of their children more into their own hands?
Not really, but we should take education much more seriously than we do. We really do not take education seriously enough.
But it's easy, isn't it, to take the option where you simply practice and learn for the passing of an exam, and you have a piece of paper to say how wonderful you are. It doesn't really tell anyone what you're capable of, really.
Yeah. We should teach children how to learn, not what to learn. Yeah. That's the problem. And children have to memorize too many things.
Absolutely. I failed terribly on many things that would, history, for example. Yeah. It depends on knowing names and dates and
we should interest them so they would research things for themselves because of their interest. Now we just force them to memorize things that they do not want.
And we need to tell them stories so that they become interested rather than simply give them facts.
It's all about telling stories.
Let us have another piece of music.
Driver's Seat from the Sniffin' Tears.
I wonder why.
Yeah, when I think of a car and the enjoyment of driving, it's always this song. You're the driver and you're in control.
Sniffing the Tears, Driver's Seat, and very appropriate. Let's get back to this car. When you started the process, you probably had no idea how big a job it was going to be.
No, absolutely not.
How much work have you done so far?
The car is mostly done. I just need a few minor details, new wheels, basically new tires and brakes. And then it can be MOT'd and registered.
But that doesn't tell me how much time you spent and so on. So let's just kind of look, how long have you been doing the project?
The project started on the 1st December 2012.
Okay, so we're a little over 18 months now.
Yeah, and since then, with the help of some friends, we mostly done everything by ourselves.
Presumably you took the car completely to pieces.
Only the engine stayed inside. Everything else was outside.
Right.
But the engine, I kept the engine in the car because the engine had very low miles. It had only 70,000 kilometers.
Okay.
But everything else had to be replaced.
Mm. Did you have to do much work on the engine in terms of...
Just a major service.
Okay.
Replacing some filters, gaskets, belts.
Mm.
Nothing major.
All the things that would be done as a routine service, really, at the top end of thing. Where did you get the skills from for this? I mean, some of the skills here are quite complex engineering, quite fine engineering. Other skills are, I mean, fabrics, interior finish, fine detail, electronics you also have to have. Where did all this skill come from?
It's mostly learning by doing. Not on the car, but on previous projects like computers, Lego, or stuff with wood. I mean, the skills come in handy everywhere.
Sure.
It's the feeling with your hands and the technical understanding of things that helps.
Mm. Yes, of course. And you say mostly you did. So there were one or two jobs that you got other people to do? I mean, what about things like welding?
The rust repair was done by a friend who isn't a professional welder. He did this in his free time. Mm-hmm. He also learned by doing, but he already had the skill, so I let him do it, and he's done a very good job. And the problem is, if I had let to do this a professional, it would be extremely costly.
Sure.
I had to do this on my own.
Mm. I think we need another piece of music, and then we're going to find out some of the costs involved and so on here.
I would say we would play Starship because this song is basically what the build is all about. Never enough money.
My guest in the programme today is Aleš Zorko, who is a freelance web designer, but more importantly, rebuilding a BMW motor car to some significantly high quality. Before the break, you played a track called It's Not Enough, classic stuff. I thought it's interesting rock, but you allied that to It's Not Enough Money. Let's talk about that. Let's look at the money involved here. What was the original cost of the vehicle?
I paid $2,500 for it.
Okay, that's $2,500 to those of you who are not into the world of that, which of course is very little money actually for a motor car in general.
Well, for an E30 touring in this condition, it was a pretty normal amount.
Yeah, the right amount of money. Yeah, because as you said, it was 20-something years old.
It's 89 vintage.
Yeah. Okay, so now it's 25 years old.
Yeah.
But the cost of repairing all of the stuff, I mean, in a garage, we're currently talking 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, I guess.
No.
More?
More.
Really?
More. The final cost of the car when it will be registered will be closer to 12.
That's with you doing it?
With me doing it, yeah.
So in a garage, it would have cost more like 18 or 20 then?
Yeah.
Your labour,
closer to 20, yeah.
Your labour has got to be 7,000, 8,000.
Probably.
In terms
a lot
of
man hours went into it.
Yeah. Have you any idea? Have you kept any kind of record as to how many hours have been spent?
No, intentionally. Because if I did, maybe I would have stopped the project midway and sold the car.
Really? I mean, surely were there points in this? I mean, I suppose there's the whole issue about doing something so complex. Were there points when you began to think, why have I started this?
Yes. I mean, I knew I wanted to finish it, but I did have my doubts. I did often wonder, why am I doing this? Why am I spending so much money on it? I'm spending so much money and time on it, and I may crash it the first time I drive it.
Yes, but there could be insurance involved here.
No, in Slovenia you can't get good insurance for classic cars.
Really?
Yeah, no insurance company does it.
Really?
Yeah.
I am shocked.
Yeah, and it's only in Slovenia. You go to Austria, no problem. In Slovenia, the market value of this car is
whatever
basically
it is
zero.
Based on
I have a
years.
small fender bender and it's totaled.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. So you had some moments when you felt that was this, a good idea. How did you get out of that?
By working on the car some more.
Okay, you didn't sort of think, I'll just have a holiday and I'll go and stay with friends near the beach and go swimming every day for a month. Or
no,
something.
I'm not that type.
Okay, so you really just knuckled down and told yourself to be serious and get on with the job.
I just love doing this.
What is so special about that? What is so special about getting this high quality finish, both from the visual point of view and also from an engineering point of view?
I don't know. I'm a perfectionist. I like when I start to do something, I want to do it to a high standard. And if it's not, I'm just not happy with the result.
Do your friends think you're crazy?
Some do. Yeah, definitely.
We have one with us today. He's nodding his head at this moment.
Yeah.
But I think that everyone has to admire your determination to achieve an end result. I mean, I think that there's no question that it is tricky. It's hard work and long work and sometimes even boring. But the end result is something which gives you that initiative to keep on.
Yeah, but every classic car owner who went through this knows exactly what it means. I mean, if you want to have a good-looking classic car without issues and that you're able to enjoy it, you have to go through this. Or you can just pay 20 grand for an already restored car.
Okay, for an already restored car.
Yeah,
Yes.
but it's better to do it yourself.
It's not yours in quite the same way, is it,
Exactly.
if you do that?
If you do it yourself, the car is really yours.
Yes. And
And you know everything.
Yes, and there's nothing you don't understand about it.
Yeah.
Let us have another piece of music first.
Yeah, and this is also a theme for the car. It's Stevie Nicks, I Can't Wait. Because I really can't wait to finally be in the car and drive it.
I'm sure that's true. I mean, this is. I mean, Stevie Nicks is something amazing. Anyway, this is a very classic piece of rock. This lady was amazing. 40 top 50 hits and sold 140 million albums.
Yeah, she started in Fleetwood
Mac. Yes, this is what 68.
She joined Fleetwood Mac later in 76, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. But then Mick Fleetwood, he played on all her tracks, even when in her solo
before he
career.
was part of. Yeah. Yes, certainly great music. Stevie Nicks, I Can't Wait. But you have to. You have to wait until you finish. But not so long now.
No.
Tyres and things. So what's actually holding you up now? You can get the tyres done tomorrow. What's holding up the process right now?
BMW. Because I'm waiting for parts.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say money. You've got to earn enough to buy the tyres.
Yeah, I solved this problem.
Have you completely? Because what I saw when I first, as I said at the very beginning, what I first saw was your entry on Facebook with the details of each step as you've been working through it. But the more recent ones were, I've got to raise enough money. I need another €1,500. But you've got to this point where you have actually got the money to buy the bits you need.
Yeah, it's two things. First, I finished some web pages.
Oh, okay.
And the second thing is, some of the costs were less than anticipated.
Oh,
luckily.
That's a nice move.
Yeah, that's nice.
And you actually had time to do some work as well as working on the car.
Yeah.
Has that been a difficult balance?
Always.
Because, some of the work you do is time consuming too, and so on. Doing web pages for somebody is very...
There's time, you have to understand when working on a car, a day when working on a car goes by just like that.
Yeah.
You start working at 7 in the morning, and it's 8 in the evening.
And you think, I'm hungry.
Yeah, you forget to eat, really.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, the
and you really have to balance this.
But I admire the whole project. I really look forward to seeing this running vehicle. It'll be something special. We need yet one more piece of music. How many have we got left to go?
I don't know.
Two.
You're keeping
I'm
count.
crossing them off. Yeah, we've got... We haven't done Steely Dan.
Oh yeah, let's do that.
We haven't done Lita Ford, and we haven't done Tears for Fears. So it's 3 more pieces of music.
Yeah.
So let's have the next piece of music.
Let's have Steely Dan. Do it again, because I would do it again anytime, despite all of the trouble.
That's my final question. You've ruined it now. Okay. Were there many things you had to do again in the process, that you did something and you discovered really it would have been better if, and you had to redo something?
I just recently discovered something I have to do again. Last Saturday we installed the windows, and the windows are glued into the car. Now one of the windows is glued totally wrong. It's very there's gaps where they shouldn't be, so it has to be cut out. And re-glued again. So presumably with new seals, you can use the window again, but you have to replace the seals. If it's glued, you not. You can recover it's
all
just
the
the glue. You have to cut it out with a string.
Aha, I see.
Then you remove the glue with a razor and then reapply it.
The complications. And of course, people who do nothing but that have all the right gear and all the right experience, and it goes in 5 seconds. And yeah, I understand.
No, but I'm not doing this myself.
No, okay.
A professional is doing that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this has to be done by a
But even that
professional.
wasn't done properly then?
No, but that's my fault. Because I instructed him wrong.
Oh, okay. Oh, dear. Right.
Yeah.
We come to the vast part of the programme. My guest is Aleš Zorko, freelance web designer and maintainer of computers as well, along with other bits and pieces, but right now is spending as much time as he possibly can on rebuilding his car. I've seen the pictures. It's white. That looks pretty classic and wonderful. It's going to look something special. What are you going to do when the car is complete? What's the first thing, apart from drive it once around the block or something? What's where are you planning on going? What are you going to do with it?
I think the first trip will be to Rijeka, in Croatia.
Mm-hmm.
I have a friend there who also got infected by me with the virus of restoring cars, and he bought himself the predecessor of my car.
Oh, okay.
An E21, and he is restoring that, and I'm going to see how he's doing.
And meanwhile, you'll take him for a drive in yours.
Of course, that's the point.
You're going to be very cautious with this car, aren't you? I can imagine with all of this work you've done, you'll be watching to make sure nobody's got any sharp objects in their back seat pockets when they sit on your seats.
Yeah, but at the same time, the car is meant for driving. When you're driving it, you don't keep that in mind. You can't. If you do, you can't enjoy it.
I know people who do, though. I mean, my father was one. He was really fussy about everything. He'd inspect people before he'd let them into the car. You kind of go...
No, I mean, if it's dirty, you clean it. That's no problem.
Actually, when we're talking about upholstery, that must have been quite a hard part to do. I mean, upholstery is a very different skill than actually
the upholstery was also not done by me.
Okay.
I took it to a guy who was recommended, and he did really, really nice and really cheap.
Really?
Yeah.
This was local here in Maribor?
Not in Maribor, but in Šentilj.
Nearby.
Yeah.
So there are people here. You feel that all of the skills that you needed really existed here in Slovenia, beyond you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so many skilled people, but it's not the skill that it's the problem. The problem with car restorations or stuff like that in general is that it has to be done too quickly.
Right.
And because there's the next customer already waiting in line, and if not enough time is spent on a task, it's not done properly.
So the fine detail is the problem in the end for you. Because I guess you're really attending to details. Yeah. I mean, you've just said it has to be perfect. That means you've got to look at every every door must be, the perfect spacing around it as it closes and so on.
You have to spend a little more time on it. Yeah, and you can do it only if you do it yourself.
So, but that also means that when you do have to employ somebody else, you have to try and get them to love the project too.
No, not necessarily.
Really?
No, really.
Okay.
I mean, most people, the professionals, actually love what they do. But I've been told by them again and again that there's not enough time, often not enough time to do the work properly. Customers just pressing for doing them.
I want it quick.
Quickly.
That's a mistake, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's definitely a mistake. More music.
Let's play Lita Ford, Hungry. It's also because I'm hungry for a drive in the car.
And some days when you're working on it, you're hungry too.
Yeah.
Because you forgot to eat.
Oh, yeah. Food is very important.
Lita Ford and Hungry. Is there anything else in your life? I mean, do you go do sports, play football, running?
No, I don't play football. I don't even like football. I'm one of those people.
Fair enough. You're allowed to be like that. There's no issue with that. But surely you don't just work and mend your car, do you? What else
I
do
like from the sporting perspective. I like to bike.
Okay.
I like to do that very much. Even when the car is complete, I will keep to my bike. Because, especially in the city, a car is just
a nuisance.
Useless. Yeah.
What do you mean by biking? Is it the convenience of getting somewhere that taking a car is less than perfect, or is it because you like it's a good quality bike? And
Both.
You
I like biking, and it's a convenience in getting around the city.
Is it a road bike, or do you do other things like mountain biking and stuff?
I use it mostly on roads, not on. I mean, it's a mountain bike, but I mounted road tires on it.
Okay. So you
it's
wanted a quality bike
it's
that's
robust,
yeah.
Because for Slovenian streets, especially here in Maribor.
Yes, I'm wondering about that with your BMW.
Jesus, you really need something sturdy, because the potholes are horrible.
What's the worst thing that's going to happen to your car?
Oh, jeez, I don't know.
Do you actually think about that, or do you think
I do.
Do you?
I do, and it frightens me. It frightens me. It's an accident where it's not. I'm not responsible, but somebody takes the way and slams into me or something like that. That's the worst.
Presumably, if it's not your fault, then the other person's insurance has to pay.
Sure, but the car is junk. I mean,
and that's how it will be seen. It won't be.
Doesn't help me.
It doesn't help you, really.
No. I mean, if it's just a small fender bender, that's no problem. But if he T-bones me or something like that, then the car is a write-off. Not just economically, but you can't repair it.
Let's be positive. That's not going to happen.
Yeah,
because you're a good driver,
No,
and you will see any accidents before they happen. So it's not going to happen. You also mentioned Nurburgring. Yeah, I want to know about that, because your object eventually is to get to Nurburgring with the vehicle.
There's an annual so-called ring meet, which we do with the members of the Final Gear forum. And it's traditional that we take our cars around the Nurburgring. That's the famous Nordschleife.
Does that mean quite quickly?
Yeah, okay. That's the point.
Because you don't have to worry about somebody coming the other way, do you?
No.
Okay.
That's the point, and that's the enjoyment.
It's not just a procession. You're allowed to have a go.
Exactly.
Excellent.
You test the car and yourself, but of course you don't go to the limit, because you don't want to crash the car.
Sure. But how many opportunities do you get to do that? Because I mean, you're going to get used to the circuit and so on.
Once a year.
No, I mean in terms of when you go there, you can go a few laps.
As many laps as you want.
Really?
I mean...
But you're not lapping alone then, you're with other drivers?
With other drivers and, of course, with passengers, because it's no fun doing it yourself alone in the car. Okay. It's always fun to have people scream or or comment on other drivers or something.
I ask the ultimate question, I suppose. Are you a good driver?
I suppose so.
You're allowed to be honest.
Yeah, I'm a very good driver.
Okay.
I'm not perfect, of course, but I consider myself a very good driver.
So you haven't had lots of terrible accidents in your history?
No, not by my fault, anyway.
Yeah. Excellent. I'm pleased to hear it. Aleš, thank you very much for your time. I wish you all the best of success in finishing the project and it all being perfect and wonderful. I insist on being given a short tour, because I'd like to see this car and feel this car at some point.
You will get a test drive.
I can imagine that Nurburgring will be absolutely fantastic, because you'll have lots of other people with those enthusiasms as well. So well done, brilliant exercise, and thanks for your time. The last piece of music?
One of my favorite tracks, which I always include in all my compilations, it's Tears for Fears, Everybody Wants to Rule the World.
And you will in your car?
I hope so. But it's a great driving song, and I really love it.
Aleš Zorko, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.